Hi everybody, thanks for coming to what we hope becomes an annual affair, our hot stove night. First I'd like to introduce our distinguished panel tonight. From Bakersfield, California, the first Corvallis Knight to play in the major leagues, Brent Morel. Last year was a season-long starter at third base. Hit .245 with 10 homers and 41 RBIs, and finished up very strong with 6 homers in September, I believe, right? 8. Now that you keep track of stats. So anyhow, as we said, our first Corvallis Knight to make it to the majors, Brent Morel, Chicago White Sox. Our next distinguished guest, Gabe Sandy from Portland, Oregon and Franklin High School. He is the Northwest Regional Scout for the Miami Marlins. It takes a little get used to from the whole Florida Marlins. And finally, last but not least, this man needs no introduction to you guys. El Presidente, Dan Segel, founder, president, Mr. Everything for the Corvallis Knights. Our first question is for Brent Morel. Brent, of all the things, all the great things about playing Major League Baseball, what is the one thing that makes you go like, man, that's really cool?
It's kind of tough. I mean, obviously just getting to play every day and all the new stadiums, but I'd say the one thing that most people don't kind of get to know a little bit is just like the travel. Everybody thinks the travel's so tough for us, but I'd say the coolest part is, you know, just getting to get on the bus at the fields, you know, bus into the airplane, like don't have to go through security, anything like that. You know, we have our own plane, so we just get to relax and, you know, you get to lay down and sleep. They have different rooms for that, or you can sit down and play cards, and you got some good meals on the plane. So I'd say that was kind of a little eye-opener to see, you know, this is the right way to travel.
So today when you had to hop on with the rest of the great unwashed and fly up, one thing too, Brent, he drove from Bakersfield to Fresno and then flew up here today to Portland and came down. So, you know, you hear a lot about spoiled major leaguers and all that stuff. This guy went through a lot today to be here for us tonight. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
So, keeping with you, other than Chicago, what's your favorite place to play?
Well, one of them's in Chicago, just a little bit farther away, playing in Wrigley.
Okay.
All the historic fields, you know, just like Boston, Yankee Stadium, Wrigley, you know, all those fields. But it's also nice to play the Angels or Dodgers, you know, just being close to home. A lot of my friends and family get to come down to watch. So I really like the West Coast trips and stuff like that. But I really like the just historic fields that you kind of grow up watching.
Can you just give us a quick preview of the Knights this season?
Sure. I guess I would start with our kids coming from Cal Poly, where Brent's from. We've had a great tradition with Coach Lee down there and some great players like Brent and Bud Norris, who's one of the starting pitchers for the Houston Astros, have come through our program. We've had great Cal Poly kids last year. You guys probably got familiar with David Almendares and Jimmy Allen and Chase Johnson. And the year before, Mitch Haniger. These are kids that can really play hard-nosed baseball, and they've got lots of talent. And we've got 3 kids coming from Cal Poly, new kids that we're really excited about. Coach Lee, in fact, told me probably the best recruits he's ever had, no disrespect to Brent, but Alex Michaels, an outfielder's coming here. He's a freshman. He's 6'3", 217 pounds, swings from the left side, can flat out play. So, you know, maybe that's a kid we'll have here on a hot stove night 5-6 years from now. And also Nick Torres, I guess he's got thunder in his bat. He's a first baseman outfielder, and then a strike thrower and a kid named Brian Granger. But we also are bringing back 14 players from last year's championship team, which is really exciting.
Most people might think that like if you have a 7 o'clock game, that's kind of like high school, that you show up at 5:30 or 6 o'clock. But can you kind of describe a normal game day for us for a 7 o'clock game, for a night game?
Pretty much, I mean, most guys are there by about 2 o'clock. Some guys 1 o'clock, kind of in between 1 and 2. You just show up right in the middle around 1:30. You eat a little bit, usually have your workouts in the gym, whether it's cardio or weights, whatever day you're on in phase, around 2:30. We have like a big video room, so we'll get like a packet of, say we're playing the Mariners, we'll get a packet, so Felix, I mean not Pineda anymore, Vargas is going to throw the 3 days against us, so we'll have like a full scouting report of all the pitchers that throw. Then we have a video room, so we'll go in the video room and watch like their last 2 or 3 starts, you know, kind of look at all the percentages and watch your at-bats against him if you have any in the past. Do that for like 30-40 minutes. Do all your work in the cage right around 3:34, kind of rest a little bit. I think we take the field around 4:15 for a 7 o'clock game, and then we do our ground ball, stretching, running, batting practice, go inside for about an hour, eat a little pregame meal, and you know, go back out about 6:15 for the game, 7 o'clock game, and get done at 10:15, do all your icing, post-game workout, eat dinner, and you know, kind of get out of there around 11:15, 11:20 or so, depending on the time of the game.
Players on other teams that you look at and just say, man, that guy is really good.
I mean, it seems like there's at least 5 or 6 on every team, you know. I mean, just growing up, you know, the level of competition gets better every time you move up, and, you know, getting fortunate enough to play in the big leagues, you know, just guys you've grown up watching your whole life. But, I mean, just in our division, you know, we had Verlander, Cy Young Award winner, so, you know, we got to face him 30 times, 30 at-bats a year, which is never good for the average. But even some guys here up in Seattle, you know, like Felix and when Pinedo was here, I mean, a lot of good guys that, you know, have real strong arms. Seems like the talent's getting a lot better. Haven't had a chance to play against Pujols, but I played against Matt Camp, the MVP award of the National League, but we get to play the Angels a lot next year, and with Pujols going back, you know, I'll probably be the best guy I've ever played against.
Okay, and when you're at third base, is there a guy that, when he comes to bat, like a right-handed hitter, you go, whoa, I got to be really alert for this guy, and not because he's going to bunt?
Yeah, one of the guys is probably Adrian Beltre, because he hits with a lot of topspin, so he'll kind of get some like hard in-between hops over at third base. Other guys, though, is like a guy that probably most people wouldn't think about in Detroit. What's his center fielder's name? Austin Jackson, because you have to play in and he bunts so much that you have to play up close, but then he also hooks the ball out to third base, so it's kind of, some of those big power hitters, you know they're not going to bunt, so you could play so far back. It's not as bad as the guys who kind of bunt a little bit and kind of hook the ball over there, kind of scare you a little bit.
And you know, Brooks didn't mention that I was a former Knights coach. That's part of the reason why I'm on the panel. And I coached BMO and I coached Billy Klontz. And I'm going where I'm going is Tommy Hansen. When we had Tommy was just special. You know, here's a guy that's 6'5", redhead, freckles, doesn't say boo, you know, acts like he's asleep all the time. And his nickname was the Hibernator because he didn't sleep a lot. And you know, Tommy would come out and go 4 pitches for a strike, slider, curveball, you know, fastball both sides, plus changeup, unbelievable command. And then, you know, he would be punching 12, 13 guys out a night. And teams got smart and started trying to drag and push. And here's 6'6", bouncing off the man, throwing the drag bunters out, holding runners, 1-2 to plate. You couldn't steal bases on him. And Dale Stebbins, who was a skipper at the time, you know, we were coaching at junior college, and Stebbins and I were looking at each other. Tommy was at Riverside committee. I'm like, they must be good down there in California. this guy's the total package.
Yeah, I think that year, the 2 years you coached the Knights, 2005, 6, there's what, 4 major leaguers now?
Yeah, we were fortunate.
With Tommy, Bud, Brent, and Mark Zepchinski.
Not a lot of championships in those years either, Brooks. Maybe that's why I've moved on.